The next proposition is, can materialism and rationalism justify knowledge? The Orthodox Christian gets to go first. We're gonna like Licks go first on the second prompt.
Yeah. Also, before I start, I just want to say, let's just try to give to make the rebuttals like less because it took us like almost 1 hour for the first, question. So it's
Yes,
gonna take like
yes,
11 hours.
yeah, yeah, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's like you just said. Let's try to make our rebuttals little.
And also stay more
Yeah,
on point.
I didn't want to time you guys. Being Orthodox, we thought about telling you guys, but we didn't want to do it. But let's just try to make it shorter. Next time we do a debate, we might have to time you guys. But do y'all think? Just remember, we on time right now. Think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah.
So about materialism, right? So the argument I'm gonna bring up, I've seen many people attempt to justify. So before we start, right? Gio, I just want to ask a clarity statement. Are you a materialist?
What do you mean by materialist? Because some people say materialist is um overvaluing like items, like making it your identity.
No,
Like,
no,
what do
no.
you mean by materialist?
I mean that do you base your truth and morals, overall transcendental aspects around what's observed in the material world?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also hold to evolutionary theory?
Um, evolution.
Yep.
Yeah, I hold a bit of belief in that. I
What
don't
do you
think
mean?
it's absolute truth, but I feel like there are aspects of um evolution as far as like animals losing certain fans and growing certain things, and also just humans, like certain humans they grow canines, some humans don't.
Do you
And
hold to the Darwinian formula?
huh,
Do you hold to the Darwinian formula?
Darwin,
Yep.
no.
No. So you hold to a mid-level of evolution?
Say that again.
Do you
You
hold
said
to
it
like a
fast.
mid-level of evolution, like in the middle?
What do you mean by in the middle?
You do not hold to absolute Darwinian evolution, but you also hold to an aspect of evolution in this said change, like in the aspect of characteristical change between species.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if the argument follows from this perspective. This is an argument that strongly attacks people that follow the Darwinian evolution word for word, but I'm still gonna make it. So the argument is from the philosopher Alvin Plantinga. He's still alive, really great philosopher. So basically, the argument goes like this: if you hold to evolutionary theory, I don't know exactly what the extent would be in this case, and also materialism in the definition we gave, uh, there is inside this worldview, this paradigm, a self-defeater. The self-defeater
Hmm.
is that in the evolutionary theory, right? Again, I don't know if this will stand because it depends on the level that you hold evolutionary theory, right? In the evolutionary theory, right, when humans evolve, also in them evolves their cognitive faculties, such as truth, observation, etc. Now, according to evolutionary theory, the cognitive faculties of humans are built around survivability, not a truth content. For example, if someone many, many years ago who was evolving to reach the level that we are now observed a lion in the wild, in the hypothetical, let's say that the lion would be a non-aggressive species or an animal that would not attack. But
Hmm.
the neurons in that person said, okay, we're gonna run away because it's gonna make us survive and then our offspring, right? So the cognitive faculty there will be built and transferred from generation to generation, not because of the truth content, but because of the survivability. So the self-defeater comes that when you believe in materialism, meaning that everything like morality and etc. transcendental aspects are based around the material, But the problem is that that material, according to evolutionary theory, is not based around truth content. It's based around observability. Therefore, there is no justification for the transcendental aspects of reality, if you hold to both true at the same time.
Um, Honestly, I don't agree with that. If I understand your point correctly, I don't understand. I mean,
Could
let me
we
recollect
do
my
like a
thoughts.
You
Huh?
want me to repeat it?
You wait.
No, no, no. I
Wait.
understood. I
Do
understood.
you understand the proposition?
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
could you
So
state it?
Wait.
Yeah.
the per
You say you
yeah,
do
but the
understand, or wait,
person
you say you don't understand or do
I
understand?
do I
Okay.
do
My
understand. I
bad. My
mean,
bad.
but the person you reference, honestly, I don't agree with that person,
Hmm.
which is why I'm in the middle of evolution, because I believe that. So with material, or I guess I can say the physical aspect of the world, that can be part of your cognitive development, and it can carry off into your offspring. It can make up the makeup of your brain and how you behave. And I don't have any studies specifically that I can reference, but according to what I'm about to say, um, they do studies in high crime areas, or how people are raised high in those bad areas, and they see that being in a bad area, or surrounded by guns, or surrounded by bad material things, uh, especially if it's in a household, and if they have, even if they haven't even touched the thing, they can grow up and be more accessible to um participating in whatever that comes with like guns, or anything that was part. It don't have to be guns, it could be of stuff that is good. So no, I don't agree with you at reference.
I
I
don't think
strongly
really
don't
the
agree.
statement
The
addresses
yeah
my
Well,
point. Like I don't think it has
yeah
anything to do
the
with it.
reason why
yeah. Let Baldwin go real quick, licks, and so he could get
Yeah,
a
yeah,
And you did say that at first, so it's not a
yeah.
misunderstanding on both ends.
the reason why Geo, the reason why your example doesn't actually address the claim is that
Uh-huh.
your example is sitting up in a frame of time that is very short. The study is very short in in time, in history, but the claim of evolutionary theory goes way beyond what we can even prove. We have nothing, we have no data, we have only inferences from fossils, from geological studies, and things like that, from carbon dating. So we only have inferences. And so yeah, the scale of this specific example that you brought up was actually irrelevant.
Right. I agree.
But yeah, but also the just before maybe we can if you agree we could make a quick back and forth just so we're on the same page
Mhm.
about the actual prompts. Can materialism and rationalism justify knowledge? So did you understand what I mean? Materialism, right? It says that nothing exists outside of matter, right? Matter is everything that exists. That's the claim. And
Mhm.
and knowledge would be I tried to define it. It would be like the acquisition of in the mind of something that is. And if it is real, then it is true. So because it is the case, right? It's the case. It is true that it's real and it's really true. So It's either the answer to, there's like two possible answers to the prompt. Can materialism and rationalism justify knowledge? So either something exists outside of our predication, right? Either something really exists outside, whether or not we acknowledge it, whether or not we conceptualize it, or some things only exist in our conception of it. So things only exist in our, like, reality would be some sort of chaos that nobody can make sense of, and the concepts or the ideas are illusions that we predicate on this chaos, right? So materialism leads to the second possibility. Materialism leads to the fact that, to the idea that things only exist because there's this electrochemical reactions in the brain that actually make up the reality of things, because they exist only in our brain, right? Things like concepts, ideas, logic, right? Which we all rely on, right? We all rely on this. But the problem is, if materialism is true, then there's no consciousness. There's no like concepts behind words, and there's also no shared concepts. So there's no numbers, there's no mathematics, there's no shared concepts, because how do I know that my thoughts, it's like it's like Isaiah 55 just before, just in another way. How do I know that my thoughts are your thoughts, right? We don't know that. We don't. How do I know that the concepts that I refer to are the same? How do we know that we both have access to the same concepts if the existence of those concepts is bound to time and space, matter, neurons, electrochemical reactions? How do we know that we actually arrive at the same things? Which would be like a presupposition of even debating in the first place. So we don't actually have knowledge if we hold to materialism.
I like your point. I really like it, and
But
I
it's
agree
my
with
argument, different words.
Oh, you want to add? Okay.
No. I'm just saying it's like my point, just in different words.
Yeah, yeah. It seemed like you had two different propositions. I like the second one the most. The last one you had spoke of was that based on our chemical, which is from our brain, which is matter, that we're relying on things that we can only see basically in our perspective, in our way, or really only way of conceiving, the energies or frequencies and all that stuff. So, and then you had Telly back about um, how do we know for sure? Because of course our brain can trick us. I think we all know that. You can hallucinate. You can. So how can you know for sure? And uh, I think this is where me and I think a lot of atheists or agnostics kind of get stuck on. And I think a lot of us think that, oh, God don't really give you, believing in God don't give you that answer to that, in my opinion. And I think a lot of other people can say that as well.
It does though.
Because
It does though, because so how do I know? For example, every argument that you have used, every argument that people use, are based on a truth value. You're using your arguments right now because you think they have a truth value, and you think that that's why it's even worthwhile to propose them. So how do you know that logic exists, for example? How do you know that things like truth exist? Because using arguments in a debate is based on the fact that those things are true, and that those things are valid arguments and that they are logically sound, right? But you don't have things like consciousness, logic, truth. Think about every transcendental abstract concept. You don't have them in materialism. Where is logic in space? Is there in the Andromeda Nebula, whatever? No, it's nowhere, right? So
Hmm.
logic exists, we know it, we can understand it with human brains. Either it's only a human concept, which is fallible. So if it's the result of random material processes, why should we even trust logic? Or we can trust logic. Your arguments make sense because sense actually exists, truth actually exists, right?
Hmm.
And so if for your arguments to even make sense, you need those things which you can't justify with your worldview, right? So that's a big problem for agnosticism and atheism.
Let's let's get two more rebuttals from each side. Then we're gonna move to Q&A by the audience. So one more rebuttal for Geo and one more rebuttal for the Orthodox.
Okay. So you said logic don't exist outside of at least Earth because we haven't been anywhere else. um.
No, that's not exactly what I mean. I don't mean that like
Oh,
where
where?
and where and how, like where and how it does logic exist.
So first we have to start off at what does logic mean, right? So logic just means reason. So
Not exactly.
that's gonna have to be fact checked.
Yeah, logic is not reason. That's not the same. Reason is talking about faculty, and logic would be the things that you appeal to, the transcendental order or the transcendental concepts that you appeal to in your process of reasoning. So it wouldn't be the same thing.
Hmm. Nah, uh, I disagree. Um,
So what is logic and what is
I guess we
reason?
just disagree on the definition.
No, that I mean that if you I don't think you have a proper those are the actual definitions of what reason is and what logic is, right? Logic exists outside of reason, and you can reason without being logical. So reason are not the same thing. Reason and logic are not the same thing.
Okay,
If
you're
you
right.
can,
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
right?
I'll retract. Yeah, it's logic is like a good
So
reason or like basically it makes sense. You're right.
yeah.
I
We
agree.
use our reason as persons. We use our reason, and we say things, and those things either obey to logic or contradict logic. And so
Mhm.
based on this, we can agree with something. For example, this pen is blue. Blue is a color, therefore this pen has a color, right? So that would be a logically true proposition, and on basis of that proposition obeying the laws of logic, we can accept it, right? So
Mhm.
that's why my question would be, how do you justify the existence of logic if everything that exists is material?
Final question. Then we have to move to the next prompt.
Okay.
One more respond, Geo. Then we have to move to the next prompt.
So a few minutes ago you mentioned like a I don't want to be 100% on you saying this, but you said like chronological order or like um basically tables of math regarding like um stuff stuff that happens. Um I don't know how to phrase it. I'm sorry. Um but basically Um, yeah, brain fog. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Like I don't see. Are you
So
trying to answer my question?
no. I'm not. No. Don't think that. I'm not trying to dodge it.
No, no. Answer. I'm just saying if you're trying to answer my question or not. I don't know.
Oh no. I am. I am.
Okay. Like how does
So
logic exist?
so I believe in science, the process of how things happen. So whenever you're doing science, you have to, or you also use logic, or you see the logic in things as far as why this happened. Okay, um, this cell, this cell had. I did not go to school for this. This cell interacted with this cell because of this chemical or that. If and I know a lot of Christians say this, if everything was slightly different, it'll be something else. Everything is in order, which I believe that I do believe some things can be out of order. That's definitely a possibility, or well, it just happens. So
Yeah.
I do. That's why I believe that logic is really everywhere.
Yes, but how
But
how
some
does it?
things can be illogical, and that's when bad happens. Like if you be illogical in science, people die. People
I
get
know.
diseases. People
I
get
know, right?
all kinds of cancers and all of that. So
I
yeah.
think you've missed a little bit the scope of the question because you're arguing for things that come after. My question is prior to even science using logic, right? The fact that we
So
can access the fact that we're using logic as humans. I don't wanna. I'm gonna go quickly, right? But even we can use logic as humans, sure, but that would be a point for theism and not for atheism, because atheism can't explain the existence of logic, right? So if logic exists, if logic is the case, uh, then the systems that can't explain the existence of logic are less like consistent than the systems that can. And so, because Christianity can explain logic, therefore it's better than atheism, right?
yeah, I don't understand what what you're saying that can't explain logic.
Yeah, so
I
so
don't understand. 'Cause
Christianity
logic is
Christianity
just a reason why
so
that happens and
cr-
why it happens.
I'm talking about I'm just talking about giving an account for what is,
Mhm,
right? So we should follow the worldview. Isaiah, feel free to cut me off
mhm.
if I
No, like you guys do your thing just like if you guys feel like y'all get to the
Try to
conversation where it's like a dead end, you guys know what to do. But I don't want to cut you guys off.
okay.
Like if y'all feel like y'all at the
okay.
end of the convo, we could move to the next prompt. Is there any more? You know what I mean?
Well, I felt like
I'll let him
Geo
finish. Yeah.
yeah, Geo didn't grasp completely
Okay.
the scope of the question, I
Okay.
think.
You said before.
Are we okay?
Um,
You guys want to move on, or what you guys want to do?
I'll say one more thing.
Okay, perfect.
You said before, as in like not thinking, like as far as logic or not using logic. Are you saying that?
No, I'm saying uh, atheism, so the position that, or agnosticism, let's say,
Mhm,
materialism, right, cannot account for the existence of something that exists. Therefore, we shouldn't follow it compared to a system that can account for something that exists. And that something is logic, consciousness, words, numbers, mathematics, transcendentals, abstract, right? So, because abstract cannot exist in materialism in another way than in the brain. So, if abstract things only exist in neurons, then how do you know it's reliable? Because materialism tells you that neurons and thinking are deterministic. So it's just like a predetermined interactions, electrochemical reactions that are the cause of other things. So how do you know that you can trust your brain to access those abstract things if that's what you're relying on, right? But your worldview is actually telling you that those things are not possible. It's not explaining how those things are possible, right? And so that's why the answer is materialism cannot justify knowledge, but that's a big problem because, I mean, science is predicated on knowledge, logic, analysis, reason, right? Mathematics. So that's a problem.
One more quick rebuttal, Geo, 30 seconds, and we have to move on to the next problem.
So, I agree with you, and it also goes back to what I said. Science is a process, so we don't, or at least on the grand scheme of things, we don't subject science to a truth. So, because we understand that we don't know everything, that's why we become agnostic and atheists. Some people,